handful of zip codes over here, or a couple of neighborhoods over here, and that's kind of like an ongoing basis. And when we find we have that need, we'll just go ahead and look at all the applications we have in that cover those neighborhoods or those zip codes, and then go through those applications. So it helps you also, even if you're not in one of these states, if you're interested, go out and submit an application. The way to do so is on our homepath.com site. There's a real estate professionals tab. Jillian will show you a bit about that later. And when you go out to that application will ask you to create a user ID and password for your application. And it does so that if you realize you hit submit and you realize, oh darn, I forgot something, you can go back, log in, add some information to it as you need to do so. And then when we have a need in the area that you cover, we'll go and look at those applications, and then, it's like a job interview. You submit an application, we'll go out, interview, check background, credentials, that kind of thing. Oops. On our listing agent side, we pay a standard commission of 2.5% when you work with us directly, or $1,000 minimum, whichever's greater. On the selling agent side, though, we pay a standard 3%. So realize there may be more opportunities to make money on the selling agent side, bringing buyers to our homes than listing our homes. So with that, I'm going to switch over to the selling agent side, and with that, I'm going to hand it over to Julia.
It's musical speakers. Can you hear me? Yes? Yeah, nodding. Okay. I'm going to have some serious questions about this Century 21 people. As David mentioned, HomePath is the global brand for fannieMae.MOV properties. And we didn't think very clearly about this when we put it together. We thought it was great. We owned the brand, we could do all sorts of fun things with HomePath, and we've successfully confused a whole lot of people. So I'm going to talk you through a couple of different ways that we use the term HomePath. For me personally, people talk about HomePath properties. When they talk about a HomePath property, that usually means it's a fannieMae-owned property. Then we talk about homepath.com, which is naturally the website that we'll show you some pictures of here in a minute. I'm sure plenty of you would have been to it. But it is essentially the central place for all information around the properties that we own. It shows how they're listed, it shows the status of their listing, it shows the current list price. And that actually can also often be a little more updated than the MLS. So if you're looking for a property and you've encountered one that is actually in your MLS, and it indicates that it is fannieMae owned, it's worth going back and looking at homepath.com just to confirm that all the information is the same. Homepath.com reflects what Fannie Mae believes is the list price, or has set the list price at, and identifies what status that property is at. Additionally, we have two financing products. We have one called HomePath Mortgage and one called HomePath Renovation Mortgage. We're going to look at these in just a second. Okay, homepath.com. Yay, we're in the world of technology. Everybody knows how to use websites. This one is kind of fun. It's kind of fun for us. We've had a really good time building it, and we think it's pretty useful. We're getting a lot of traffic. We get about 3 million visits a month, which is pretty good given we don't do any advertising and any promotion of the site. There are some critical things, and I think we've decided that there is no, right here. This is actually related directly to online offer, but I'll show you up here. There's a bunch of different tabs at the top. When you come in, you search the site like you would any other. You put in address, you put in a zip code, you put in a county, whatever information you want. Properties in that area will pop up. You can put in property alerts if you want to know when properties come on board. Standard stuff that's listed in the website. Additionally, we have tabs on here, financing information. We'll talk about financing in a second. Special offers and incentives. We oftentimes will have a quarterly incentive. It may be, some home down payment assistance. It may be different types of things. It also talks about different programs we participate in. Helpful resources. There's some information about how we sell our properties. For real estate professionals, Jane gave you some information about how it is that you go ahead and list, indicate you're interested in becoming a listing broker. That information's out there. There's additional information out there around online offers. And then for investors, which talks about the different types of things we do for investor groups. And if you have any questions about that, we can answer a little bit of those later. A couple of things you should know about HomePath properties when they show up. There's a bunch of different statuses that are a little different from others. Coming soon is an indicator that confuses everyone, but it's a really worthwhile one knowing. We know the property is about to be listed. We have it in our inventory. We we've done work on it, say, we've been doing repairs, we have the critical pieces. We know that it's about to be listed in the MLS, but for whatever reason, it actually hasn't been kicked over to the listing broker yet and flagged to go list. But it will show up on HomePath a couple of days earlier. So if you actually get property alerts, you'll know this property is coming soon. And it'll be an indicator you can reach out to a buyer and say, look, something's coming in your neighborhood, drive by it. And as soon as it comes listed, you can talk to the listing broker about going in and taking a look. The file is updated overnight. Everything is current every 24 hours. So it's a very good source. It is the most current source. We match our data with the MLS data. For those of you who are listing brokers with us, you probably know we have a relationship with ListHub. So we get some information directly from our listing brokers, but we also get additional information from ListHub. We're trying to make sure that every property out there has very current information, great pictures, good descriptions, the kinds of things you want to see when you want to know what it is the property is. And for buyers who, you know, do all their research online, and they now come to you and say, there's this new house available here, I want to go see. This has been really good information for them. One of the reasons we get as much traffic as we do is that we are far and away the most comprehensive foreclosure listing site, right? You can go to foreclosure.com, you can go to RealtyTrack, you can go to some of the others, and they're going to charge you. Fannie Mae's properties, everyone's interested in buying foreclosure. Fannie Mae owns our properties, we list our properties, and we show all of our properties and we make them available to everybody. All right, we talked about this. This is a little bit, and I'm going to start in a little bit on some of the things that Jane's going to talk about. We launched actually about a year ago, we started a pilot in Florida and California and part of Michigan about online offer. We've gotten a lot of feedback from folks that they were interested in making sure that Fannie Mae received the offer. They weren't sure that the listing broker was necessarily behaving properly. They weren't sure if their offer was being looked at. So similar to what HUD does, but a little bit more robustly, we recognized that we could help with that. So it's hosted on online offer. Now, when you are interested in making a property on Fannie Mae, you have to submit that offer through our online offer system. It's hosted on nopath.com. You simply go to the property, you click it, you submit the offer from there. Financing. Okay, HomePath financing. HomePath financing has been out for about 2.5, almost 3 years. Gosh, it's been 3 years now. Time flies. We recognized that there was a period of time, and there still is a period of time, where buyers were having a hard time sorting through their financing. And they were having issues with appraisals, they were having issues with down payment amounts, they weren't sure what FHA was doing, they weren't sure what traditional conventional financing was looking like. And we recognized that in the case of HomePath properties, we knew a lot about this house. We understood, we've done an appraisal on the house, we've done other valuation around the house, and we were pretty comfortable with it. So we were comfortable putting some financial products on that house that allow a buyer some more flexibility in their financing. Now, if you know anything about Fannie Mae, you know we work with lenders. So we have a selection of lenders who offer this financial product. But for HomePath Mortgage, buyers are allowed to put as little as 3% down. Some of that's going to depend on where their credit is, but they're allowed, for an investor, you're allowed to do it up to 90% financing, so 10% down. Critically, there's no mortgage insurance required, and there's no appraisal required. So depending on your area, that can actually be a really useful product. We don't require HomePath financing. We don't necessarily recommend HomePath financing. It depends on the house, it depends on the buyer, and we certainly will accept any other type. If you want to pay with cash, great. If you want to use conventional or FHA, all of those are fine. But for some people, in some circumstances, HomePath is a really great way to go, and it can be a useful tool. Additionally, we put out something called HomePath Renovation. Now, David showed pictures of the houses that we repair, and we repair a lot. Sometimes we don't do all the repairs that a buyer might be interested in, and they want to do some more. So if you're familiar with the 203K product, it's a very similar concept. It allows buyers to take up to still 3% down, and they can take up to $30,000. Is it still $30,000? $35,000 in extra money in order to be able to make repairs on the property. It's similar to some construction financing. It's similar to other renovation financing. They work with the lender and do draws on that. But it also has no mortgage insurance. It does have an appraisal because of the way that those finance products are structured. But we have 35 HomePath lenders out there who do renovation financing. Now that we're 3 years into this, they've gotten much more sophisticated. So my advice to you would be, if you've tried HomePath in the past and you've had a first look, I'm not actually gonna go into too much detail because I think you all understand the fundamentals around it. Basically, we have a preference for owner occupants. In order to help with that preference for owner occupants, we do not consider offers from any buyer who is not an owner occupant or someone who is ultimately gonna be an owner occupant during the first 15 days of properties listed. This is really great and came as a result of the fact that we got all these complaints. People said investors are getting in there first with cash, we don't have an opportunity, our buyers really want to be able to take their family to a home and they're just not being given a shot at it. This really does allow them to have a shot at those houses. Okay. David talked about this a little bit, but I'll actually talk about it too. Fannie Mae is not dumping their properties on the market. We own a lot. We have sold 250,000 properties last year. If we dump those houses on the market, we can actually have a major impact on that neighborhood. We can drive those prices down. So we have taken the perspective that it is more important for us to find a good, solid market price, solid value, wait for the right buyer to find the property and buy the property so that we can help maintain those values in those neighborhoods. It's one of the reasons we repair the properties. It's one of the reasons we work with local real estate agents. It's one of the reasons we have the types of financing products that we do. We want the right buyers in those properties, and we don't want to impact the neighborhood and continue to drive prices down. This is a hard enough crisis for everybody already. And we really are committed to working. Oh, look at that, short sales. We really are committed to working with the real estate community. We couldn't do this without a lot of listing brokers. I mean, and I know we get this whole, I want to be a listing broker, my submission has gone in, I haven't heard from anybody, but do understand that we have a lot of listing brokers that we use around the country. And when we have areas where we need new ones, we bring them on board. We work really hard to bring on qualified listing brokers who can list our properties in a way that we would expect them to list. All right. We expect them, however, to do a lot. We expect them to not just list the property, but they actually have to make sure that that property continues to be taken care of. They work with all the different buyers. They pay a lot of utilities in some areas. They take a lot of financial responsibility for those properties. They do an astonishing amount of administrative work. For those of you who are into real estate brokers, I'm sure you're nodding, right? Astonishing amount of administrative work in trying to maintain it. Just think about it. If you were trying to sell a house and you have an owner in it, all the things that are required to keep that house looking like it's in selling condition, it's hard work. So for that, we pay them 2.5%, and we pay the selling agents 3%. So it's actually better to bring the buyers to our house. All right, I'm going to give this to Jane because we're actually looking into managing offers. But we've had some issues in the past. I don't believe we have any issues with it now, but in the past there have been some concerns about people saying, your realtor won't submit my offer unless I pay a $50 fee. There is nothing that we do that requires money up front in part of that transaction. We require, earnest money like just about everybody else. But we do not require the selling agent to pay any fees in order to submit an offer, ever. We prefer to sell our properties to owner occupants. We look for the highest and best net offer. Now, if your buyer is offered $75,000 and they want $10,000 in closing costs, and we have another one who's just offered $75,000, or actually has offered $70,000, the $70,000 offer looks better to us. So consider that when you're putting an offer in. We look at the net to us. Those closing costs and all of those different considerations actually do have an impact on what offer is preferable for us. We consider all offers and all types of financing. So we really do want to see all offers and all types of financing, and online offer helps with that. So with that, I'm going to hand this over to Jane